Better?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, please introduce yourself to everyone.
Hey, what's going on? Okay, so my name's Dwayne, and I um around 40-ish. Grew up in a huge family, 11 brothers. Well, 11 brothers and sisters. Was a retiree from the military, medically retired, former police officer, father of a whole lot of girls. Got 7 daughters. Um, let's see, author, written a book, working on another book. Grew up in South Carolina / Florida, the Jacksonville area, um, and then bounced around a little bit. Made a lot of mistakes in life. Made a lot of good decisions. I've been the perpetrator. Um, I've been the victim, and a lot of heartbreaks. I'm an open book. The way I look at life is, if anything that I've gone through can help anybody else, then here it is. Eat it up. So I didn't ask you for any questions on purpose. I wanted it to be authentic, and I wanted to just to come out the truth and not some rehearsed answer. So I'm pretty much an open book, and yeah, I'm easy. I hope I hope I don't talk too much, and I hope
No,
it's
you're
easy.
fine. Well, first of all, thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem. No thanks needed, but appreciate it.
And then my first question is kind of cheesy, but what is it like being famous?
Famous?
Yeah,
Ooh,
you.
I wish.
I mean, you have your book, you have your podcast, plural. Like you have a huge following. Like, what is that like?
I I don't. I never. You're the second person that I was on somebody's Periscope live one day, because I'm me. I'm gonna be me until the day I die. And when I was a kid, I never met a stranger. Anybody who looked like if you gave me that look, like, hey, I'm like, hey, how you doing? So, I never. I just always been around a lot of people. So famous. That's it's the first time I heard that term. The last term that was used was, "Oh my God, there's a big dog in the room." I'm like, "Who?" There was like you, and I was like, "Nah." I think people can relate to realness or to openness at a minimum, because what's real to me may not be real to the next person. So I'm just open, and in any category in life or any aspect of life, I just try to remain as open and transparent as possible, because I remember how I was at any state, and you can't help people when you only tell them part of the truth. So I don't know. I've never saw myself as that way at all. I just love people, so I interact with a lot of people, and I think that it's more that I interact with people, and that makes it easier for them to interact with me than fame. But no, I've always wanted to help people on a on a large scale. So in that aspect, it feels pretty good. But I think there's so much more that I can do. So I think I'm still underutilizing whatever God's put in me at up to this point.
So, would you consider yourself an alpha male?
I can have alpha male moments, but I think with every alpha male, the side of that people never see is you're still vulnerable. Most just choose to hide those emotions in front of people until it's one of those moments that's so big that the emotion overtakes them. Like, you look at Michael Jordan. If you ever watched The Last Dance, you'd be like, Michael Jordan's a horrible person to be around if you're not on his basketball team. But when you saw how all that determination and hard work paid off for him, and he finally hit that objective and won the first title, or the title before his father passed, or the first one after his father passed, the emotions just, they took over, and you see this person who's a killer on the court crying like a baby laying down in the middle of the court. So I think most alpha males are just guarded 24/7. But I think you can be both. I think you can be an alpha male and still emotional. I think you can be an alpha male and still sensitive. I think that most just don't let the typical person see those sides of them.
Do you think there's an agenda to feminize Black men?
That's a tough question. I see evidence of that all over the place. Um, the part that always gets me hung up is what's the purpose, and then and it's like, okay, I understand the purpose behind it as well. Um, I just have a hard time rationalizing that somebody would are that afraid of what we can be to the point that they would go to the length of changing social norms and norms in the black community to get us that way. But I think there's a small percentage of that happening, but I also believe that a lot of what we're seeing is the reality of some other things. I think that that's a bullet in the agenda. I think the agenda is to neutralize us. Um, and one of the ways of doing that was to neutralize the black family. And how do you neutralize the black family? You make the male absent from the family. You take away, and when I say head of the family, I'm not talking about you're the most important person in the family. I'm just talking about the traditional family setting. But when the protector, the quote unquote provider, when the quote unquote head of the household is no longer in the household, you leave a job which black women have done an amazing job, but there's some things that women aren't equipped for that men are. Just like there's several things that we're not equipped for that you guys do with these. But we need each other, and when one part is missing, then the function it doesn't. The family doesn't function the same, and when the family doesn't function the same, what we find is now our sisters and aunts and moms, they're raising our male cousins and our brothers by themselves, and they're doing a heck of a job, but in some cases it's just not enough. And I think this is where a lot of the effeminate males start, and it starts in the church in a sense, because moms are doing their best. They're making sure their kids aren't thugs. They're making sure their kids aren't stereotypes. They're making sure there's a spiritual connection, that they know who Jesus is, or whatever the case may be, and they learn how to do things the way a woman does it. So when it comes to worshiping and praising God, if you've ever been to church, you can tell whether a person grew up around a male or a female, or who influenced them in that way, because 9 times out of 10, the quote unquote traditional shout in a black church, it's generally a female's dance, and it's not a female thing. But you got to understand that we've been watching strong women do this so much. The person we're trying to emulate is a woman. So I think effeminization of the black male is a byproduct of the neutralization of the black family.
Wow. That's a very articulate response. I love that. Was that? Okay. Okay. So can you promote the Brothers of Legacy for a little bit for us?
hmm the Brothers of Legacy. This is a place basically for us. We're having everyday conversation with a camera. Um, it's the things that we black first, but not black only. But it's the things that we go through, we see on a daily basis. It's the taboo church subjects. It's the taboo politics, and we got several different perspectives. Pastor Brian McCory is a pastor, obviously, and 9 times out of 10, when you see a pastor on a broadcast, you think it's going to be the most churchy thing you ever seen, but he's real and he's transparent, and he's still going to put Jesus all up in there. AD, he's like a mastermind. He has a vision to to unify us and to keep us on the right track. And Terry, man, anybody who's ever listened to Terry, he's the most likable guy you will ever see. And we have a couple people that come in. Terrell Ephraim and Sean Rollins, they step in every now and then, but we just have real conversations and we talk about everything. We talk about politics and we break it down. We don't always agree with each other, but it's like I said, it's like that barbershop conversation grown men would have, and we just let the world in on it. But absolutely amazing brothers to be around, and you've been there several times. Well, shoot, maybe every day almost.
Yeah.
But we want it. We don't want it to be something that we talk about, because it's easy to talk about a subject and it's easy to talk about your perspective of a subject, but we play devil's advocate, so to speak, on subjects. We're real. We let our real emotions out. We try to be comedians. I ain't gonna say we try to be comedians sometimes. Sometimes our personality shine through and we get a little funny. We take little shots, but a great group of brothers that's looking forward. We want to fill a gap that's been missing, and it's the beginning stages. Even though we've been going at it for about 18 months now, it's still in the beginning stages, and there's so much to it because it's about our community. It's about our children and our children's children, and equipping brothers in general, not just black brothers, to be better husbands, to be better fathers, to be better community leaders and role models, and just be able to have open dialogue. Because as men, some of the things that we talk about, we didn't see that growing up. I'm not 100% sure of AD. And Terry, I think his stepfather was around, but both Pastor McCrory and I have single parent homes. So the things that we grew up with, we're trying to help other people avoid those problems in life or those obstacles in life.
True, true, true. Um, are you a conservative?
Ideologically, I am a conservative. I haven't agreed with the conservative party or the Republicans in a long time. When you look at the politics, if everything on paper was factual, then I would consider myself a Republican. Um, but I've learned that just because I'm a conservative, that a party doesn't represent me. I know you probably that probably was an open-ended question, so I'm gonna stop there and allow you to to unpack it.
I remember once in a conversation you said you made a comment that on paper, ideological, you, people of color do carry a lot of beliefs that tend to lean more on the right side, not on the left. Which I don't know if you agree or not, but lately the left has actually been more radical.
Um, I I do tend to agree, and I think it starts top down. Um, here's the thing, and I've been seeing this more and more. Most people are only looking at a handful of things when they look at the two parties, and they call themselves conservative or liberal. And the thing that they're looking at is homosexuality and abortion.
Yes.
You take those two things away, and you take them off the table, the parties don't really they don't provide a conservative or liberal view. Is one, you want, some people say socialistic view. I don't think socialism in itself is completely bad. I don't think that it should be enforced on a whole group of people, but that's another, that and that area is one, and there's a reason why I feel that way. I think it's not the government's fault or responsibility. That's the word. I don't think it's the government's responsibility to take care of the country per se because of my religious beliefs. But my religious beliefs state this as opposed to what I just said. I believe that it's the church responsibility to ensure that the widows and the children and the people who are in dire need, I believe that it's the church's responsibility to take care of those people. I don't think it's the government's responsibility. However, not every person in a community believes or attends a church. So I'm not mad at the government for giving assistance where it's needed. I'm not mad at that at all. And for people who say it's socialism, our country spends billions, hundreds of billions in other countries every day. How do I know? Because I've been to Iraq, I've been to Afghanistan, I've been to Kosovo, I've been to Korea, I've been a part of the military industrial complex that I mean, when I was in Iraq, it was estimated that we spent $1 million in fuel every day. So don't I find it offensive when people have a problem with our government helping people who are less fortunate. Now, if you're a freeloader and you abuse and use the system, yeah, I'm not talking about you. You kind of uh, I'm not gonna say what up, Terry. I'm not gonna say that you disgust me, but I've seen it too much. If you can do better and you're not doing better because you're getting a free check, then yeah, you individually are a problem. But as far as the country taking care of its citizens that are hurting, that can't find a job, that are down on their luck, I'm all for that. Especially when we're spending billions elsewhere that doesn't apply to our country. You're talking about tax-paying people, and these tax-paying people don't enjoy the fruits of their taxes, but other countries are. So yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that socialism in doses is okay. So there are a lot of narratives that get slanted, or you start to see bias in it, and it's easy to argue against anything. I mean, whether it's pro or against, it's easy to argue against anything. But no, I'm a realist. So no, I'm a conservative in the way that I was raised, but I don't tend to agree with most conservatives, especially the ones that just spew a lot of stupidity on Facebook and social media.
That's so funny that you mentioned the socialist, because that was my next question. So you already answered the question for me. My question was, are you a socialist? Hey Terry, we were just talking about how likable you are. Okay. So how important, when it comes to this whole hatred of police right now, because I don't think anyone knows this actually, other than like if you're a family member, but my father was a cop.
Hmm.
So when I see all this hate towards policemen, I can't help but get a little biased and a little hurt as well. But how important do you think there is there should be cooperation between both parties without stepping over our amendment rights? How important do you think there needs to be a combination of cooperation and mutual respect?
I think that should be the priority.
Mm,
Period. I mean, but here's the thing about politics, and especially in this arena. For me, we're one country. I remember every day of my life growing up in the South. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, one nation
yeah.
under God. That is in this country right now, especially with the people who push nothing's wrong. The one nation under God, it's not even it's not even a pipe dream right now. One nation under God means take Republican out of the picture, take Democrat out of the picture, put U.S. first. And to do that, it means take all of your emotions and let's look at facts.
Mm,
And facts said that if you're a black male, you have a 3 time larger chance of being killed by the police than a white male. That's facts.
facts.
And I didn't know your father was a cop, but I know you understand that dilemma a little better because you, like everybody else, can see what's going on in America. I mean, shoot, we didn't have to wait 2 weeks after George Floyd died before it happened again. Then we didn't have to wait. I mean, he died, city started burning, and we're still seeing the same thing over and over. And what a lot of people may not know, especially since I changed my profile picture, I used to be a cop. And so for me, it wasn't even a hard thing because it's either you are a cop or you're not a cop. And it's either it's against the law or it's not against the law. Every single crime has elements to it. If you meet those elements to a crime, you need to be punished, and you need to go through the judicial system, just like every criminal. I think that we need to put aside all the difference and all the bickering, and I think we need to come up with legislation that enforces the law that's out. Well, it's even that, and even me saying that sounded stupid. We got to come up with laws to enforce the laws that we already have. We just need, the laws are already in place. They're not being enforced, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you. I hate the. And here's the thing: if you're a Republican, you probably love law enforcement and thank every policeman you see. If you're not a Republican, um, from what I've seen, you don't hate all law enforcement, but you condemn wrong when you see it. And then you have the extremes on both sides. Defunding the police, nobody ever said that that's the issue, but I think people get caught up in verbiage. Defund does not mean dismantle. Um, so I think our country needs to get to a point where we care about human life more than blue life or this life. If and when the term Black Lives Matter comes out, I hate that our pain and our anguish has been hijacked by an organization that really doesn't represent all of us. So whenever me being a black man says that my life matters and my skin matters and my children matter, I automatically get put into a box with Antifa in an organization that I absolutely disagree with. I mean, so it's a chess move because now whenever that comes out, automatically you're a Democrat, automatically you are on the left side, on the right side, or a liberal, automatically you are anti-law enforcement and this is all crazy because I'm a black man who was a cop, who believed in justice, who believed in patriotism, but most of the people that spew these things, they they probably have more run-ins with the law than the person that they're talking to. They're probably the least patriotic people in the room 9 times out of 10. And as a soldier, I hate when I see people try to turn this into patriotic versus unpatriotic. You know, I served and was willing to die for this country because it guaranteed people rights. I mean, so stop trying to take people rights away because they don't agree with you. You know, I've seen it all, and it's okay. We don't have to agree, but the law and rights are there for a reason. So yeah, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, we got to put aside political leanings and we got to get to what's best for America. And obviously, having our cities burn, having communities feel like at any time I could be next, that's not the move.
Very good point. Very, that was a very beautiful answer. What was your first concert?
Concert?
Yes.
My first concert was Fred Hammond, Hezekiah Walker, and Kirk Franklin at Carowinds, an amusement park in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, oh, this gonna make me. It was like 1995 ish. I was in high school.
What?
Yeah, they would do it once a year, and I church. I'm a huge Kirk Franklin fan. Like
Mm.
even when he first, the first time I ever heard him, I was like, I love his music, and I can't sing, and I say the same thing about Kirk all the time. Kirk can hold a tune, but he can't sing.
I can't.
But he's a monster at songwriting. He's a monster at producing. And so I was super excited, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I was on the choir. I could hold a tenor note, but the first song I ever led was "The Reason Why We Sing," and it was a smash because I embodied the Kurt Franklin part so much. But yeah, I wasn't singing anything.
Or what's on your plate this Thanksgiving?
This Thanksgiving is gonna be different because like my wife, she has not eaten beef or pork for 19 years. Um, and recently, I've given up beef and pork, like in the last couple of weeks. So I don't know. Obviously, the turkey's still going to be on there. I think um, I might deep fry the turkey. Excuse me. I might deep fry the turkey this year. But mac and cheese, the dressing or stuffing, depending on where you're from and what you call it, um, the green bean casserole. Um, I always do black eyed peas because black eyed peas is my thing. Hey, I'm telling you, Terry. Black eyed peas is my thing. So I'm probably gonna put some smoked turkey tails in there since I'm not gonna be using any ham hock. Probably gonna have me some more greens, maybe some rice. I just got to figure the meat side of things out, other than the turkey.
So, do you think with this age of social media, of cancel culture, do you think redemption is possible for everyone? What's that line that you can't cross this line?
For humanity or
An
just
individual,
purpose? Say again.
an individual.
I think it's difficult, but I absolutely believe redemption is always possible. Um, because it's just the way I look at life. Um, I don't know if you've ever seen this video. You can definitely find it on YouTube, but it's a college coach, and he's an athletic director, if I'm not mistaken, and he has all of his athletes on a football field, and they start on the opposite goal line. And he asked a question. He asked a series of questions. He was like, "Okay, if you had both parents growing up, walk 5 yards forward. If you had a family member killed due to violence, if you've never had a family member killed due to violence, come move 5 yards. If both your parents worked, or if you ate every day." I mean, he asked a series of questions, and after he finished the question, there were some people at the 25 on this side, and there were still some people that was at the 5 on the other side. And then he told him, he was like, "Now I want everybody to turn and look at each other." He was like, "Each and every one of you took a different path to get here." He was like, "For some of you, it's easier." And he was like, "So here's $100. The person that wins this race gets the money." And what he was doing when he was showing them that, just off of things that you can't control, everybody starts at a different place, and everybody's story is different, and everybody has different obstacles. But the point he was making is, you're here, and now where you get to is completely up to you. I'm the realist that understands that being a black man in America, I may have to work harder in certain areas. I may not get forgiven as quickly as somebody else. But what I've always been taught is the only person that can keep you from succeeding or doing anything is you. So you control your redemption story. And as long as you don't give up on you, it doesn't matter the way everybody else sees. We gotta learn to be able to shut everything that's not gonna cause us to grow out of our lives, even if it's seasonal. Just think of it this way. You're a plant, and the world is your yard is your social media or the cancel culture. Now here you are, put in good ground initially, with good soil, in a place where you receive sunlight. but there's animals, there's birds, and everything else flying over. I don't know if you've ever had to maintain a yard yet, but you can get a bird that eats some plant a half a mile away and then come in your tree and drop droppings into your yard, and all of a sudden your perfect manicure lawn has dandelions growing in it. And then those dandelions create multiple dandelions. Well, it's up to us to be able to go into our own yard and pull those things up that are going to take away from us, that are going to take the nutrients that we need in our lives, take whatever it is. So, yeah, redemption is absolutely possible. At the end of the day, you have to keep everybody who's not bringing something to your life out of your life. Old cliche is some people come into your life. Everybody comes into your life for either a reason or a season. 9 times out of 10, we're the reason why people stay longer than they're supposed to, or don't stay long enough. But absolutely, but we determine it.
I have a selfish question.
Say again.
I have a selfish question.
Anything. Shoot.
At what at what age does you at what age do you get your shit together?
Um, I don't think there's an age. There's not really an age. Um,
Sorry.
no, you're good.
I don't know
Everything's
why
different.
I'm right.
Every situation is slightly different. For me, for me, I divorced twice. Two great women. Um, Even though with my exes, I may have argued and I may have felt away when we wasn't together anymore. Um, I can honestly look back and say that my mannerisms and my behaviors, and I'm not gonna make any excuses. Some of it was reactionary stuff, but nonetheless, my choices. Um, I was the reason, for the most part, why I got a divorce. I was the reason, and it's because there's this part of me and a lot of other men, um, that you know what right is and you desire to do right. But here's the funny thing: you have to deal with everything you are. You see, we're whole people, and being whole people, that means we're spirits that live in a body that has feelings and emotions, and we have a mind or a soul that reasons and thinks, and we got all these three things placed into one space, and all three aspects of this person is vying for identity or dominance in any given situation. For instance, come here, girl. For
Go ahead.
instance, I'm a man, and like most men, um, young, especially immature, haven't gone through some things that can give us appreciation for what we actually have. You can, in your mind, be like, I got a great woman at the house. Yeah, this chick that just smiled at me, she looking right, and I know I can if I want to. You gotta it's a fight because your mind, I put it like this: what you feed the most, the part of you that you educate the most and that you nurture the most, will be the strongest in any situation you ever go through. And I used to, when I was at the police academy, there was an overweight female that was in our class, and she was borderline obese, and she didn't work to make herself better. And she was a sister, so I would pull her to the side. I was like, "Look, I ain't trying to embarrass you. I ain't trying to make you feel away." I was like, "But you got to think about you." And her mother was going through a lot of physical stuff, illnesses at the time. I was like, after work, I was like, there's like 10 of us that's willing to run with you, go to the gym with you, help you get to where you're supposed to be. I was like, but you're out. as soon as the day is over, I was like, you're the first one gone. And I was like, if you're in a situation 6 months from now and you got to be somebody's backup and they got to depend on you to get to them or they're going to die, I was like, they're going to be hurting because you can't run a block without walking.
Mm.
And it was one of those things. It just reminds me, everything that we go through in life, whatever we feed the most, whatever we nurture the most, that's the person that shows up. And let's be real, for men at 19, 20, 25, what's the focus of our culture? It's clubbing, it's women, it's being like this superstar, is flexing like this, is flossing like that, um, turning up here. That's the culture. And in those situations, who are you around? People that's like, oh, did you see that? Oh, she was eyeing you. Man, did you see her? Did you see that chick right that just walked by? You can put a coffee cup on that. These type conversations are the music, the movies, everything play a part into that. So the answer to the question is, it's not an age that you get to that puts you in a position where your stuff is together. It's which part of yourself do you focus on? When you get to a self that you start focusing on, that's why I love that's one of the reasons why I love watching your show. You're one, you're a character beyond what. Two, you're transparent. And for some people, they may plot on that. They may want to take advantage of that. And for other people, they respect it and they want to be around you and they want to see you be better. Um, but I love it about you because when you're open like that, when you're transparent like that, what you allow yourself to, what position you put yourself in, is you allow yourself to find what actually feeds the other parts of you, the parts that other people don't focus on, because people usually focus on what they see, and that's usually akin to the flesh and the emotions and the feelings. But when you take emotions and feelings out of things, you can deal with the facts and the truths. So when you open yourself up like that, what happens is you put yourself in a position to see all of you. And when you see all of you, now you can really see what hurts, because I've stumped my toe and I've felt pain in my chest, you know? So when you're dealing with only the emotions and the feelings, you feel that pain in your chest, you're like, oh, something's wrong here. And the truth of the matter is, that's just a symptom for what's going on in your toe. So when you open yourself up like that, you start to get to the real you. You start to see the real problems. And for me, I got to a point where after these divorces and not being able to be in the house with my children, I sat back and I was like, I hate this. What's going on? So I took the emotions out of it and I start to dive and I start to see, wow, I never really realized that being away from my dad weighed this much on me, because the fact that I wanted my dad in my life and I wanted to know what that love felt like and I didn't get it when I became grown and I joined the military and I started sleeping around. I for a moment, that feeling that I had was covered. You know, it didn't feel so bad because for me, sex said I love you. To
Mm.
hear a woman tell me the things that I did for her said that, okay, you're meaningful to me. And it was something that if my pops was around, and I say if, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. Maybe it would have been the case. I don't know. But I know that for me, that's where it stemmed from. So something that was small that I could have handled a long time ago, 25 years later, broken hearts later, and and it goes and this is the thing, those things of on your way to getting your stuff together. This is the reason why I am unapologetically me. This is the reason why you can put me in a room with anybody, and I do mean anybody. You can put me in a room with Donald Trump, and I wouldn't punch him. I I doubt we get anywhere having a conversation unless he let down his walls. But I wouldn't run from that conversation, because if there's anything in my life that can keep anybody from feeling or experiencing any of the stuff that I went through, here's my life story. Here's my embarrassing moment. Here's the scars that I have that hurt when somebody sees it, or I'm uncomfortable. But I'm comfortable enough in me and knowing that it can help somebody else, that I'm going to expose them, you know?
You've given me a lot to think about. So much food for thought. Okay, so where can we like you, follow you, stalk you, all that fun stuff?
I'm simple right now. I used to be heavy on Periscope, although I
Heavy.
still have an account on Periscope. Now, 80% of the time, if you're gonna find me, it's gonna be on Brothers of Legacy on Facebook, Monday through Friday, and we I think generally 9 o'clock a.m. Monday through Friday, and then every other Sunday you can catch me with Terry Little on the Knuckleheads Chronicle podcast. You can find it on all major streaming platforms, and also I think we normally tape live on Sunday in the afternoons. I have Instagram, but I haven't used Instagram in months. I have a Facebook page. It's Dwayne Goodson. It's my author page. I put out some decent content. I'm not every day go upside your head on it, but there's nuggets that I drop in there here and there. But I'm getting to. I'm trying to perfect the media side of things, because I'm gonna start going live there once a week, but not yet. But please like and subscribe there too.
Okay, perfect. And Terry said Knucklehead Chronicles are Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hate time zones. Can't wait to get rid of them. Okay. Thank you so much for this. I feel like my soul was nourished listening to you.
That's what I live for. I I could care less if I want to be rich. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the most important thing to me. Being a reason or a catalyst for change in anybody's life, or maturity in anybody's life, for me, that's the most that's the highest accomplishment or compliment that I could receive. I, everything else is nice, it's good to have, but being able to be a part of somebody's change is priceless to me. So I greatly appreciate that.
I appreciate you. You enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you.